Welcome everyone, Lord Michael Rosmer here joining with you today. Excited to be with you. We are in Dubai and I am going to give you a quick little update on the UAE residency options. There is a slight decrease in the quality of one of the visas. It's not a big deal. However, a bunch of our existing clients are probably watching this because we've helped lots of people get residency in UAE. We'll probably want to know the update. And those of you who are considering it, which probably is lots of you because frankly, UAE is a great place to relocate to these days. I'll give you a little sales pitch at the end of the video. May also be interested in this slight update. So the context here is usually when we help people relocate to UAE, unless you're coming as an employee of some company and you're sponsored, usually you're going to come on the basis of one of two things. Either you're buying real estate, which is a perfectly reasonable way to go, but generally if you haven't spent a lot of time, you're probably going to be buying in Dubai. If you haven't spent a lot of time in Dubai in advance, I recommend people not do that originally. You can roll over from another visa onto this one in the future if you want, and there's good reasons to do that. But at first, it's usually not the best, simply because you don't know the area, right? Where are you going to buy? Are you going to buy in the Marina? Are you going to buy in the Palm? Are you going to buy in Al Barari? Are you going to buy in Dera? Are you going to buy, wherever, right? You should come and spend some time, get to know the areas, get to know what you like, and then buy accordingly. So great way to go. In fact, they've improved these visas year over year. But that being said, I would recommend not doing it initially. And this brings us to the second type of visa that we typically help people with, the most common one, and that is setting up a company. It is remarkably easy to get a visa in UAE. It's one of the wonderful things about immigrating here. And so we can form a company for you and get going. Now, traditionally, forming a company in UAE, okay, it's fairly easy, it's very straightforward, we can get you set up. It takes you about 3 weeks. I've done some videos where I kind of explain the step-by-step process. Would give you a 3-year residency permit, okay? 3 years, pretty good. Now, it's renewable, it's pretty easy to renew, it's gonna cost you a couple $1,000s or whatever, not a big deal, but it requires that you go through another medical, go through another set of biometrics. The medical is really simple. It's basically just a chest x-ray and a blood test. So super, super simple, but it does take some time, right? You're gonna have, I don't know, a day or day and a half of your life, whatever, as well as waiting for some paperwork. So we would rather not have to do it all the time, right? Well, they decreased that 3 years down to 2 years, okay? So now people, when they get it, they're gonna have to renew every 2 years. Again, not a big deal, not the end of the world by any stretch, but whereas formerly you would get a residency permit for 3 years, and now you have to do it for 2 years. This is gonna raise some questions for some of our clients. The initial question that I had was, well, hang on a minute, if I've got a 3-year residency permit and you just changed the stuff to 2 years, do I have to renew mine early? The answer is no, you do not. Your visa is good until it expires, and then after it expires, when you renew, you'll get a shorter one. Again, not a big deal. The other thing is people might say, well, is it worth doing a different option then? It depends on your situation. I think realistically, you may want to consider buying property after that 2 years expires, just because you can often get longer visas in that situation, and maybe it's rolled over into something more useful for you. Maybe you have decided you want to stay and you're gonna have a home, etc. That's every case for themselves. If you have questions, reach out to us. Happy to help you. Like I said, we help people with this all the time, and I would be happy to help you. We have our team who works with people, and yeah, it's great. On the other hand, there are some advantages of going through a company. It's typically easier to get loans than if you're coming in as a property owner, and so if you're wanting to buy property, that gives you a certain advantage coming in. So again, those are some things that we can help you with in terms of getting a salary certificate and other things that will help you with banking and with borrowing. Now, yes, you can do some other ways of getting residency. There are things like the virtual worker program. This is an option for certain people. Unfortunately, doesn't work for investors. Usually our clients are investors, entrepreneurs, etc. Sometimes digital nomads, but usually investors and entrepreneurs. And so setting up a company just makes the most sense. Now, I said I would give you the sales pitch, so here we go. I was talking to a close friend and client who relocated here, largely kind of after I suggested it to him. He has since moved here and loves it, and he's got 4 of his friends who have moved here. And so you just see a lot of popularity of people coming to Dubai. And I think it's really apparent why when you spend very much time here. The longer I spend in Dubai, the more I like it, the more I'm just super grateful. The more I go and travel. My wife and I spent 5 months this summer, or at least I spent 5 months this summer traveling all over the place. I was in Italy, I was in Switzerland, I was in Liechtenstein, I was in the US, I was in Canada, I was in UK, France, Malta, Bulgaria, Turkey, Ireland, all over the place. And I can tell you, I was tremendously grateful to be living in UAE through going through there. Why is this? Well, I'll give you kind of the summary that this client of mine gave me. So number one, the quality of life is one of the top in the world. It's very difficult to compete with quality of life in UAE. I mean, there's just everything available, super convenient. I could pull up my phone right now and I could order food, which, the selection would be pretty reasonable. And I could do that 24 hours a day. Whereas almost no other place would I have something comparable. There's a few places, but not many. Then it's pretty convenient. It's pretty easy to get around. It's clean. It's safe. The weather is actually remarkably really great. I mean, it's November right now. I can walk outside with a t-shirt. I can feel perfectly comfortable. This is the case 6+ months out of the year. 8 months out of the year, it's still really good. Yeah, in August, it's too hot. I suggest you leave. This is what I do. But really, if I compare to a lot of the rest of the world, actually the weather is pretty great. I talked to my mother earlier tonight, and I asked her, what temperature is it? She's like, oh, it's only minus whatever. Minus whatever. Forget it. I'm not interested. I called a friend in Bulgaria the other day. I said, hey, I'm thinking about coming there for a few days. He says, don't. It's super cold. Don't do that. This is true across Europe. This is true across North America. Yeah, there's a few places that are really good and in fact better than UAE, but I would say on the margins, it's pretty darn good from a climate standpoint. As I said, you really can't compete with the safety. Very excellent. I mean, I was meeting with a friend and business partner not too long ago. We were in a public place and you can go to the bathroom, just leave your phone there, leave your computer there, leave your wallet there, leave whatever. Nobody's going to touch it. I mean, try doing that in Spain. Not really a great thing to do, right? So that's excellent. Then where else can you get a world-class city, Dubai, that is zero tax? Okay, you can say, well, maybe I could go down to Abu Dhabi. All right, also UAE. You could maybe go to Doha. Doha is basically like Dubai 15 years in the past. A little more difficult to go to, etc. Generally not as good, but okay, an option. Maybe you could go to Monaco, but realistically, Monaco is quite small. It's quite congested. It's way more expensive. Definitely not as safe. Definitely has a bunch of major drawbacks compared to UAE. A bunch of clients I have from Monaco are moving to Dubai. Dubai is kind of the new Monaco. And so very, very hard to compete with. Really, really tough in that regard. Next, super well connected, okay? I mean, you're talking about 3 airports right close that are remarkably well connected. In fact, people fly from Japan to Brazil because the easiest way is to go through Dubai. So that tells you something about you can get to Japan easily, you can get to Brazil easily, you can get to the US, you can get to Canada, you can get to Europe, you can get to Africa, you can get to the Middle East, obviously, you can get to Asia. All over the place, you can get to extraordinarily well and on really good quality airlines. I mean, if I get onto a flight in the US, my flight experience is probably going to be marginal at best. Whereas by contrast, if I'm flying Emirates, well, I have a pretty good experience with probably the second best, close to the borderline anyway. The best airport in the world is Changi Airport in Singapore for sure, definitively. But Dubai Airport is definitely up there, competing for number 2. So really great experience in that regard. There are some disadvantages for sure, but for the most part, I find the longer I live here, the more I love it, and the more I'm happy to be here. Not to mention the fact that so many people are moving here means the social circle, the environment people you get, the opportunities that come from that are really, really worthwhile. And so, yeah, everyone has their own personal preferences, clearly. There's lots of people who move to Portugal, lots of people who move to Cyprus, to Singapore, to Thailand, to Malaysia, etc. Lots of reasons to go to a bunch of those places. But definitely, I am a huge UAE fan. So if you'd like to talk about where to relocate, it doesn't have to be UAE. We help people relocate all over the world. from Asia to Latin America to Europe to the Middle East, please reach out to us. You can book a call with me, calendly.com/Michael-Rosmer. There's a link in the description below, or you can send a message through offshorecitizen.net. I hope that helps. If you have any comments, put them below, and I will see you on the next video.